Hello, welcome to today's lesson about structures. Our goal is to learn how to utilize structures to store and group data together. First question, what is a structure? We're going to begin to understand that new tool by first revisiting a tool that you have been using, that being an array. Here are a few of the characteristics of an array that you should remember. You should remember that an array is actually a variable that can store more than one value. The values can be of any data type, but inside the array itself, the values must always be the same data type. Each value is known as an element. Access to that value is possible using an index or subscript. This index is zero-based, meaning we start counting at 0. An array can be sized implicitly, meaning no value, no number given in the parentheses when you declare it, or explicitly, meaning you supply the value of the highest index. And an array is dynamic, meaning we can redimension it, change the size of it using syntax. With an array, you've had program assignments that have asked you to calculate or maintain monthly rainfall amounts. You've been asked to find the product, the sum, the average, the min and max values. You've been asked to calculate a total for an inventory or to calculate the average test score. All of these were programs that could be solved by the use of an array. Why? Well, because the multiple pieces of data are all the same data type. If you're looking for an average test score, obviously you're collecting test scores. They're all the same data type. So let's take a look at a new program. This program needs to record dinner reservations. Below is the data needed for the reservation. I'm asking you, could you use an array? If you were asked to collect the name of the person, their phone number, the number of people in the party, including how many kids, the date and time of the reservation, and any special notes regarding that dinner reservation. Some of you might be clever enough to say yes, you could, provided you're using parallel arrays. Reminder here that if you check your textbook, page 545, you will find use of parallel arrays for this program. My question to you is, what issues could occur if we use parallel arrays to solve this? I personally would rather make use of a structure. A structure is also a variable. It can hold several logically related data elements. These data elements can be of different types. By use of a structure, I'm actually creating a composite data type. That composite data type can then be used to create an array of the structure. Don't worry, we'll take a look at this. Like an array, the structure can be declared as public, protected, private, friend. A structure, unlike an array, actually is a block syntax. And the way that we get at the elements of a structure requires us to go back to this idea. Think about object here as the name of a text box. When we wanted to get at the contents of the text box, we put the name of the text box dot text. So we're going to be using this dot notation today as we work with the structure. So think again about this dinner reservation. Here's the structure that I would propose. I'm going to create a public structure. Here's my block of syntax. I'm going to give it a name, dinner reservation. Here are my logically related pieces to a dinner reservation. I need the name of the party, phone number, the number of people, the number of kids, the date, and any special notes. This dinner reservation is now known as my composite data type. I can now use that composite data type called dinner reservation to set up an array of dinner reservations. Notice here, I'm doing an implicit array called reservations. I don't know how many I'm going to have. Okay, so now let's go take a look at the program. Let's start by looking at the form. This would be an example of a way to collect that data using some different tools from our toolbox. This is actually a monthly calendar. We have a combo box, we have some num up downs, we have some math text boxes, and a list box. Most of these you're familiar with already. Calendar might be something new. Behind the scenes, when we go to add a reservation, here's the event handler. Here is the use of the structure. The structure, you're not seeing in here. I'm not seeing that structure, end structure. That's because, good programming idea, you place it into its own file. Easy to find, easy to maintain. So here's my structure that we saw in the PowerPoint, named dinner reservation. Here are the individual pieces of that dinner reservation. These match what I have here on the form. How did I get this simple or single file, you might ask? Well, you go up to Project, and it's a new item for my solution. While there are several new items I could add, I selected Code File. Good practice would be to give it a clear name. And you add it in. And then in here, you simply would type your syntax. So if we had a new structure that we needed to make, we could code that up in here. So I've done that for the dinner reservation. Once that's made, because this has to come first, I then can make use of that composite data type to create my array. So here is, if you think about theory, when we learned about arrays, here's my shoebox called current reservations. I don't know how many, so I'm doing implicit, no number. Arrays need a type. What's the type? It's of type dinner reservations. I'm not doing a whole lot of validation here in my event handler. I'm more interested in demonstrating the use of structure. We collect the data that we need. Since I have an implicit array, I need to now get my Tupperware container. I'm going to redim my array, and I'm going to get that box 0 in this case for my first one. Now that I have box 0, I'm going to start to fill it. What you now have to start to see is the boxes that we used have little components or compartments, I should say, inside them. That if we lift the lid, we can see that there's a little compartment inside for different pieces of information, different pieces of data. One could be for the name, one can be for the date, one can be for the time. Take a look at how we're getting at that individual component. We're saying of our array at this index dot the actual piece of data that I want. I'm going to fill you up. So I put a breakpoint in here. Let's take a look at how that works. So if we go and we run this program, let's say Mr. Smith is making a reservation for today. We'll use the combo. Oh, we better pick the date. For today. He's going to come in at 6:30. He's coming in with 2 people, no children. He gives me his phone number. It's actually for a birthday. And I add it. All right, so here we are. Our reservation counter is at 0. That's our integer using as our subscript, set at 0. This gives us actually box 0. I can now step into this. And you can be watching down here in your watch window. Now we're going to be filling the individual pieces of one box, our first box. So again and again and again, this is 0 because we have to fill every compartment of that Tupperware box. We anticipate the next one, and then I went ahead and added their name to the list box. The list box here is a little extra to this program. Let's say that we actually needed to, or we desired to change the number of people attending this reservation. So via the structure, I've now gone in and pulled those little boxes, those little holes in the box, and I've populated the text boxes here on the form. We can take a look at what that looks like. We go down here to the update. Here's the event handler for that. And again, I'm working with the array of structure, the index, and here's the piece of that Tupperware box that I need. So let's go back and finish this up in regards to structures. Arrays provide a way to store multiple values of the same data type. We're starting a new tool called structures. Structures provide a way to store related items. In a dinner reservation, there are individual pieces that relate to each other to make the dinner reservation. The structure created a composite data type, and then I used that to create a structure, an array of structure, I should say. So now I think you need some practice. So your assignment is to read Case Programming 7. They're talking about working with a bank account. So on page 433 of your book, I want you to design a structure that could be used to work with a bank statement or a bank account. Bring that into theory. We'll take a look at your design. We can answer any questions. Remember, I did ask you about parallel arrays and what could be a problem in using parallel arrays to solve the dinner reservation. From there, we'll move into actual programming assignments that are going to involve the use of a structure. So good luck. Take a look at the video again. Take a look at the code sample that I give you. Come in with your structure design for a bank account. And I'll see you in theory.